out, which indicated that they'd moved my stuff from the room, my room, into the garage. And I called 911 dispatch services, and a very rude police officer attended, and he was very rude, very nasty. And in spite of the fact that these people had criminal records, he said, "This is a civil matter, take it up with Residential Tenancy Act." Well, in order to have a case with the Residential Tenancy Board in the first place, you have to have some kind of proof of misdoings on the part of the tenants, preferably from the police, in order to secure any justice of any form. And the officer was very nasty, and one of the tenant who caused the problems was holding my things was the first to get to the cruiser, lied to the officer, told the officer that I had trashed my room and that I'd never paid rent on time, despite the fact that I had proof to prove that wrong, and I could back that up. The officer did not want to stop to listen, did not want to hear my side of the story. The officer drove away. I filed a complaint with Internal Affairs of the Vancouver Police. The acting sergeant investigating the case just served to cover it up, and nothing was ever accomplished. And I knew if I went to the police commissioner for complaints against police in Vancouver here for BC, that it would just be another cover-up jobby. And it's 2008, and nothing has changed since 2003. Dirk Reineveld is still at it. He's still covering up in a lot of instances. He knows the score. So it really does no good to go to the BC Police Commissioner for complaints against police. So, pardon me here, if there's pauses here. It's been a long time since I've given a public speech. I'm not the greatest at it, but where words fail me, my penmanship won't. In other words, I'm much, much better at writing than I am at orating. But on with the video anyway. I failed to get any form of justice through going through Internal Affairs of the Vancouver Police. As a matter of fact, I just had harassment, game playing, mind games. I'm sure a lot of you can identify and empathize with this. And later on, in November 2005, I went to work for the 24 Hours newspaper. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the 24 Hours newspaper. You see the paper hawkers at the SkyTrain stations in Vancouver handing out the 24 Hours paper. Well, I was one of those. I was a paper hawker. And when I first started out working for 24 Hours, it came under the auspices of COAPE, C-O-A-P-E Staffing Company, which is located on Dunsmuir Street in Vancouver. Now, the woman who was running the show for the 24 Hours was a very nice young woman. She was the executive director, and she was very firm but very fair. And I lived up to her expectations, and I was happy working there. My supervisor was happy to have me working under him. He put in a 5-star report on me, which would be forwarding to NASCO Staffing Solutions, who would take over the contract for 24 Hours from COAPE in February 2006. Now, NASCO, unlike COAPE Staffing, NASCO is not registered with Better Business Bureaus, and so they were very slack in a lot of ways and let a lot of things go. And unfortunately, they let the wrong things go. There was a fellow paper hawker who took a liking to me, became too obsessed, and began stalking me within the company. And I quit because of the stress that this was creating for me. I quit in March 2006. I knew that the acting manageress for the distribution of the 24 Hours newspaper, Renee Haynes, was not going to do a lot about it. I had a sense of that, and my intuition there proved me right later on. I, in fact, phoned her I had to